Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, my name is Charlie. Please consider subbing before you exit this video. Now, today's video is something I've been avoiding for a really long time, partially because I didn't know how to talk about this without possibly bringing someone else down. I didn't know how to talk about this without having in the back of my mind, I hope, I don't trigger someone else to feel something I wouldn't wish on anyone else. So I will start this by saying trigger warning. I do talk about a few serious topics in this video, and I just want to make this video partly because I've feared making it for a long time, and another part of me is trying to show you guys who you're truly supporting, where I've come from, and where hopefully I'll end up. I'm pretty confident this will end up being an emotional video, so if that's not your type of video, I definitely understand. And I will continue doing, my other content. It's just I wanted to really sit down and talk to you guys. There's many reasons I have to give my opinions and do my reactions. Not only do I believe I bring something different to the conversation, but in a lot of ways I'm trying to prevent people from becoming who I used to be, and also where Amberlyn is or where she could be headed. And there's a lot that may not make sense in this video. I went to write things down, but I realize that sometimes it's okay to just sit here and kind of talk to you guys. For anyone who hasn't been here a long time, you may not know, at one point I was 400 pounds. I've lost quite a bit of weight. When my body got up to the 400 pounds not too long ago, my body shut down on me. I couldn't walk really for long periods of times. I couldn't stand longer than probably like 2 minutes. And I essentially ended up becoming housebound. I couldn't perform my job, so I definitely had to leave. And for a little while, I was living off of my savings. I would still try to go out and do things with friends and enjoy my time with friends, but as time went on, I realized how much I was inconveniencing them. They would have to make certain allowances for me, try to find certain parking spots, try to find different things that didn't involve a lot of walking, taking numerous amounts of breaks with me because my body couldn't handle it. And after some time, I just decided to start isolating myself. And a lot of people thought I was working on something else when I was always home, but really I didn't want to continue to bring them down because my body was shutting down. And there's a saying that says, isolation is the devil's playground, and it's true, I believe, at least in my experience. When I started to isolate myself and I was home a lot with my thoughts, I realized that I had to stop lying to myself. I had to realize what placed me in this position, What I would do is sit home, order food because my body couldn't handle going to the grocery store. And I would sit home, order food, get the high from the food. Then when I come back down from the high, realize I still have nothing to do. I would watch people live their lives on TV. I would watch people live their lives on YouTube. I would watch my roommate go live her life because I rented my bedroom when I was living in Connecticut. And I would just watch everyone living their lives, and I would just be sitting at home on the couch with my cat. As time went by, I realized, my savings, it's dwindling. What happens after that? I go on disability. So I'm gonna cost people money because I'm on disability, not because of a medical condition that was out of my control, not because I was courageous and went overseas to fight for my country. I would be on disability because I ate my way to disability. And what ended up developing in that time of isolation, that time of being in a situation that's just purely my fault, I started to feel worthless. I started to realize I'm worthless to this world. I have no value in this world. And I made a decision to, instead of being worthless to the world, just take yourself out, And there's only 3 people who know the real reason I moved to Florida. I went through that for a long time. I fought myself for a really long time. Like, is this something you want to do? You've tried this before. Is this something you want to do? When I was younger, a few months before being taken away from DCF, I did try to take my life. I failed, thankfully, but I did. But I carried that for years because I never dealt with it because I was so young. And when I was, in my 20s, in my home, isolating myself from the world, I remember that was a choice. And I wish, I didn't look at it like that. But for me, it was a choice. For me, it was an answer, And it was so hard because I didn't have anyone to blame but myself. And that's what I see with Amberlynn sometimes. Like, she looks so sad. But she doesn't understand it could get so much worse. And I get it. My message is a little blunt sometimes, a little much, but I can't help her. But there might be someone who's watching both her and I that could maybe get something from this, because I don't wish this on anyone. I swear I don't wish this on anyone. I'm not in that place anymore. I don't want anyone to think like I'm in that dark place. But that dark place was not too long ago for me. And if I didn't speak up at the time that I spoke up, in the moment that I spoke up, I wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't have been here all because of me and how I felt about my actions. So I get people don't understand, like, why I do what I do, why I react. But I get now, especially because my channel's growing, I get so many emails, I get so many DMs of people sharing their feelings, sharing what they're going through, sharing their weight loss journeys, or just complimenting me and telling me they appreciate me bringing something different to the conversation. But there are messages that are a lot to handle. They're a lot to handle. And I feel like if people are going to support me, they need to know me. I need to show them me, talk about my past, not be scared to talk about topics like this. I just don't want anyone to end up where I was. I don't even want Amberlynn to end up where I was as far as mentally. Even now, at her being close to 600 pounds, she's way more mobile than I was at 400 pounds. She does not know. If she allows herself to completely let her body shut down, she does not know. That's a hell that is hard to come back from. It is so hard to come back from. People don't know. It is really hard to come back from wanting to end your life. It is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. That's why I say I'm fighting for my life, because even though I don't think like that anymore, I never want to go back to that. That's why if I gain half of a pound, I get scared. I get so terrified. And that's why, yeah, I do have an unhealthy relationship with the scale, but I get so terrified. People say, I've heard people comment like, you're making better decisions than Amberlynn. Don't put yourself in the same, box as Amberlynn. I'm not saying we make the same choices now, but at one point we made a lot of the same choices. And I'm not going to sit up here and make it seem like, oh, I'm better than her. No, I'm just making better decisions for my life. That's all it is. Do I want this girl to pass away? Of course not. Do I want her to go down the dark path that I went down? Of course not. I would never wish that on anyone. But she doesn't realize. She sits on camera sometimes and is like, oh, I'm so unhappy, or I'm not feeling good today. Like, she doesn't realize it could get so much worse if she doesn't try to turn it around. She does not get that. And I don't know if some of her supporters don't get it either. You know, like, there is really a dark side to obesity that people may not talk about that much. And that's why I was like, maybe I should make this video to tell people, like, there really is a dark side. A darker side. And this is why I say be better than Amberlynn. And I'm not taking myself out of the equation, because I did eat myself to 400 pounds. I did eat myself to being housebound. I did that. My first video ever on this channel, when I sat down to say I'm starting my journey, I had just gotten to a place where I wanted to live again. But I wasn't sure if it would stick. I wasn't sure if I was strong enough to keep that strength to even simply want to live. So I told myself, sit down, film this video, and if you are not strong to continue at some point, at least you leave a story behind. At least people saw you fighting until you didn't have the strength to fight anymore. You know, I had a goddaughter who I couldn't play with anymore. Someone that I was supposed to be an example to, someone that I was supposed to help raise. I couldn't raise them. I was on a couch having her bring me toys because I couldn't get up and play with her. I couldn't go to the park with her. What am I gonna do, sit on the bench? I couldn't do so much with her. Like, there's so much I couldn't do. So I felt worthless. I no longer had money, so I couldn't help out friends and family. My body was shutting down, so I couldn't really spend quality time with people. I don't want that for you guys. I get it. Some people don't get my message. I get it. I get a lot of support. But just take away from my channel, from each reaction, to not be me, not be Amberlynn, not be anybody else I may talk about. Just be better than us. And if you are where we are, just keep fighting. If you are in a dark place, please keep fighting and get help. I don't know how to help you. But if me doing this helps you in any way, I'll do it, you know? But obesity is not a light subject. It's a really dark subject. And there's a lot that you don't see. And I'm sure there's a lot we don't see with Amberlynn. I'm sure there's a lot we don't see with a lot of people on the internet. I have this supporter by the name of Catherine B who always comments. You know, everyone's comments always mean something to me, let me be clear. But her comments kind of speak to me differently, because she'll say, like, you know, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you take time out of your weekend for yourself. And, you know, I've been really trying. That's why with this platform, like, you guys just don't know. There's been nights that I cry myself to sleep because I'm happy. I haven't done that in so long. It's so long. I'm at this place that I made a decision to fight for my life, where there's a big question mark for my future, you know? I've been thinking to myself, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? You're gonna fight for your life, you're losing the weight. But then what, you know? And then I start sitting here and I start talking about this person. And people start getting me. And I thought it would have the opposite reaction. But people start getting me and people start messaging me. And for the first time, I actually feel like maybe there's a purpose here for you, you know? And not saying even if I didn't know my purpose, I was going back to that dark place because I promised myself never to do it again. Never to go back there again. But I deal with stuff, you know? Everyone deals with stuff. Sometimes when I turn off this camera, I'm dealing with some shit that is really hard. It's really hard. But I promised myself no matter what to keep fighting. Even if you have nothing left, at least have your health. At least have your mental health. And some days that's all I have. All I have. All I have. But then nowadays, you know, I go on my lunch break. I go on my 15. I'm reading these comments. I'm checking my DMs. And I feel like I'm somebody, you know? I think I said it on Twitter either yesterday or early, I forgot. And, you know, I said, you know, I was just shocked because I'm just a basic person just sitting in front of a camera. And people, you know, were commenting like, no, you're more than that. And it's like, y'all don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this video even makes sense, but I just know if I didn't just sit down and just do it and just put it out there, I wouldn't have done it. And I hope I don't bring anyone's mood down. That's not my intention. It was just to kind of tell you guys, like, it was just kind of to tell you guys there is a dark side to obesity. And I don't want to see anyone who's not obese to get to the point of being obese, because there's a lot to fight once you're here. There's a lot to fight. I really hope that some of this video made sense. I really hope you guys are just understanding. I've come a long way. I plan to go a long way. And yeah, that's it for today, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.